What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Double D Report. It's me, Dean. We're back. A lot of controversy happened this week. But first of all, you guys know we got to start off with our picks. I am fucking ecstatic. I shit pumped you for the first time, so go fuck yourself.
All right. All right. Look, it's one time. Be proud of yourself. All right. It's not going to happen again, but I'm going to give you your little victory lap.
No, this is the best. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm actually. You know what? You go first. I'm. But
Yeah.
I need to pull up my notes, so at least.
No, I will proudly take responsibility for my actions. And to be fair, I didn't do horrible. I went 2-2, but we'll start with one of the losses. I took the Steelers -3.5. Obviously coming off a very high point victory against the Ravens the week prior. I thought they would carry that momentum into a Thursday night game in which they should have won. Not only didn't they cover the spread, they just completely outright lost against the Cleveland Browns. So not a great game by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think the snow helped, but it was definitely an aesthetically pleasing game to watch with the snow. I always love snow games. But very disappointing from the Steelers. That was my first loss, and that was definitely an omen of things to come because it was a Thursday night game.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna go to my lock, pretty much a lock of a win for with the spreads. I took the Lions -7.5 versus the
Yep.
Colts. I just think that obviously the Lions are the best team in the NFL, to where I don't see a team stopping them in the 7.5. I easily thought they would beat them by a touchdown, by more than a touchdown. So that's my first one. I'm gonna go back to back. I'm gonna go to my second one. I'm gonna go to the Eagles. I took the Eagles -3. That covered. Absolutely decimated the Rams in LA. Pretty much one player decimated him, but we'll get onto that later. So yeah, that's those are my first two wins.
Okay, all right, all right. I'll go to my second loss, which was the Cardinals +1. I did say in the podcast that I thought they were going to win outright. They've been playing really good football lately, and I maybe underestimated, as you will, the Seattle Seahawks. And they were coming off a bye, so they were a little bit healthier. Seahawks won this one outright 16-6. They pretty much held the Arizona to doing nothing whatsoever, which once again, to me at least, is shocking just based on how they've been playing lately. And if you look at the stats, it's not even like Kyler played that bad, 285 passing yards. McBride 133, but somehow they were only able to get 6 points on the board. So that was my second L of the week.
Do you want to go back to back, or you want me to go now?
Yeah, no, I could go back to back as well. I'm gonna go with my first victory. This one was actually, in my eyes, the boldest spread that I did choose. I took the Panthers +11. I did get a lot of shit from Derek. He thought I was a retard, so we're gonna completely, at least give me my props on
All right,
that
that
one.
was a good one. That was a good one. That was a good one.
All right, yeah. So, excuse me, but Kansas City just isn't playing off the charts phenomenal. And they were coming off of a loss with the Bills the previous week. So I kind of just saw, and Carolina's been playing a lot better. I will say that. What's his name? Not fuck me. Bryce Young has been playing a lot better. So believe it or not, Carolina actually had a chance to win this game. But
Which is crazy
once
to
again,
say.
yeah. But once again, Kansas City pulls it out. They wound up winning 30-27. Carolina does cover the 11.5. They only lost by 3. So yippee for me.
Yeah, that was very shocking. That was a very good pick. I was not expecting them to actually cover until when I saw them damn near, damn near send the game to overtime, which is crazy to
Yep.
me. Well, I'm gonna go to my third one. I'm gonna go to the Ravens versus the Chargers. It was the Ravens -3. That covered. The Ravens beat the Chargers, the brother to brother battle, which was very under the radar. It pretty much was only brought up during like the Monday night game, but a very good game. I didn't obviously think the Ravens are gonna win. They're just the better team. That was my third win. I'm gonna go on to my lock, which is ironic because it's a team that you won against in the start of the year. Now with their quarterback back, I took the Dolphins against the Pats because they don't lose to the Patriots, and that proved
Yep.
it. And I went 4
Yeah.
and 0.
Nicely done. I'll give you your moment of applause. A
Yes.
nice no week. Congratulations. You did good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Whatever. I'm gonna go into my lock, which also did hit. I took the Minnesota Vikings over the Chicago Bears. We'll get into this as well, but it shouldn't have been this close. The Vikings quite literally tried to implode upon themselves in the last 2 minutes of the game when they were up 11. So while it does look on the scoreboard like it was a close game, a 3-point win in overtime, this was not a close game. The Vikings held them pretty much for 45 minutes of the game. And then in the last 3 minutes, they wanted to kill themselves.
Yeah, sounds about
But
right.
they pulled it out. The lock of the week stands tall. The Bears can go fuck themselves. Happy days.
Well, speaking of moving on from our picks, speaking of Bears haters, you and me,
Yep.
or otherwise known as Caleb haters,
Yep.
let's talk about Caleb's game he had this week. For once,
Yes.
he actually had a good week, and I'm purely going off this because obviously people who follow the channel, I posted TikTok, and a lot of people did not like me and Dean shitting on Caleb, which I think it's well deserved. I don't think he's been playing that good. He had 2 good weeks in his season, like in this total season. He's had 2 good weeks. This game was very good without the offense coordinator. His stats were 32 for 47, 340, 2 touchdowns, a 77.4 QBR, and a 68% completion percentage. It's a
Yep.
good game. That's a pretty good game. No turnovers. That's a good game. He obviously made his mistakes during the game, but what I'm seeing now is that maybe with a new OC, he might turn around. I didn't see the number one pick talent in the start of the year.
I mean, yes, he had a very good game. Absolutely no way of looking about it. He had probably one of the better games from a quarterback this week, where and probably his best game of the year, to your point, with a new OC. I think at this point in the season, the Bears kind of just have to continue to say it with this fuck it mentality, where if you're going to just go into it and you're not going to make the playoffs, let's be honest here, they're almost pretty much out of it. So you have to really start taking chances, see what he can do and what he can't do on offense, and I think that's what the new OC is going to do. I think he's just going to open up the playbook and make things happen. I think that's just the way to go, especially when you have a rookie quarterback and you have to see what he's got going on. However, I will completely go. I'll go back to those TikTok people. I think they're idiots. And you could quote me on that because it's completely warranted the hatred we've given him. He has not had a good year. He's not had a good year. First of all, not only is his team consistently losing, they are now 4-7 and they've lost five in a row. Five in a row. So not only that, in three of the last five games, they haven't even scored 20 points. And all winnable games, by the way. Green Bay 20-19. That's on the offense. You score 21 points, you win. New England 19-3. Oh, but that's not the quarterback's fault. My bad. My bad. Stupid. Washington 18-15. How do you look? It's completely the quarterback and the offensive fault if you don't score more than 15, 20 points. That's just how it goes. This guy, for the season, has a QBR of 48.9,
Pretty fucking.
26th in the league.
It's pretty fucking bad.
It's horrific.
I think it's just how people are seeing this is that because obviously he's the number one pick. How I see it is you're the number one pick. I want to see number one pick talent out of you.
Damn right.
I don't want to be seeing these like games to where I understand like these stats don't really matter as long as you win, but like 93 yards passing or like 120 yards passing, that's not
Yeah.
going to win you games in this NFL nowadays.
And on top of that, his completion percentage is extremely bad too.
Exactly. Like if he had a low completion, if he had like a high completion percentage, like a 75 or like an 80, with those stats, fine. That's completely fine. You're throwing the ball accurately. You're completing your passes. You're making the right reads. But with his completion percentage compared to like everyone else in the league, even all the rookies, he's just not performing to what he should be. He has 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 2,200 yards, I believe. It could be 2,100. But
20 after last week's game, it's up to 2,300.
yeah. So he this is the I'm playing a little devil's advocate. I do see a little this one game I saw a little promise in the kid. He actually played good, threw the ball smart, made smart reads. Obviously, he took one bad sack in the game, but it happens. It happens to every NFL quarterback at the start of their career. I think these next couple weeks, you're 100% right. Assess the playbook. See, open it up. Let the young kid do what he wants. See how he does with all those weapons with DJ Moore, Romeo Duze, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet. Let the kid have fun.
Look, nobody is denying that he's a rookie. You're going to have growing pains, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to say that our hate on him is unwarranted is completely just false.
No, I
He
100% agree.
went through a 3 week stretch where his QBR respectively was 13, 20, and 35, all of which had completion percentage below 55%. That's on him. You can call whatever plays you want. That's on him. You have to throw the ball into advantageous spots. You have to make smart decisions with the ball. To your point exactly this week, sure, it was probably his best game of the year, but that sack at the end was horrible.
Yeah, kid lost on the game.
It happens to rookies. I get it. All right. We're not saying this kid can't be good next year. We're not saying this kid can't be good in 2 to 3 years. But to Derek's point precisely, for a number one overall pick, you want to see more. You have to see more to show at least some promise. This guy shouldn't be out there. You Bears fans should not be hoping for him to become a mediocre quarterback. You drafted a number one overall to become a superstar, to carry your team for years to come. He has not shown that at all this year, minus the last week where he at least showed some promise and some ability to do something.
Yeah. I, obviously, we're all saying, like, I wish the best for the kid. I hope he does do good. But I think with the new OC coming in, hopefully things will change for him. But if it doesn't change, it's just number one overall pick and getting just a mediocre quarterback when when he was so high. That's why it's making it look bad for like other people talking bad about him, is because he was the number one pick. And by saying like, oh, he's playing like shit, people are just thinking, oh, he's saying he's a bad player, this and that. No, it's just he's legitimately playing like shit. For a number one pick, he's playing very, very bad.
I'd love to have the conversation with the nincompoops that thought like that he's actually playing like above
It
average.
also doesn't help that I made the caption, uh, is Caleb Williams a bust? Because obviously you want to attract viewers to see like is that's such and such, which is no big deal. But it's just I find it funny though how it was so like so many people and it was actually hilarious to me.
It's year one. You can't classify a guy as a bust yet. That's just not how it works. So we'll talk. We'll have that more in-depth conversation next year on if he continues to suck ass or if he turns it around towards the end of the year. Then you can actually have a completely different conversation. But 2,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, and there are 25 quarterbacks with a higher QBR than him this year. That's not what you want to see from a first overall pick. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear anymore that the hate is unwarranted.
I 100% agree with you. And I'm just saying this like overall to like you guys could send these comments. We like debating this. It's fun. It actually makes it good with interaction. It's just like for this person in general, Caleb Williams, it's just wrong to say like that's not like warranted because it is. When a player plays bad, you gotta say they play bad. You can't just sugarcoat it because how their OC is, how they've been. You can't do that. They've been playing like shit. They played like shit.
Plus, he's getting prime time, baby, Thanksgiving Day against the 10-1 Detroit Lions. So, you know what? You better not suck ass because god damn it, me and Derek are coming for you then.
Yeah, if you play like shit, we're gonna light you up. Simple as
I
that.
mean, look, there's no doubt in my mind the Lions are going to win, but at least show something.
Like,
Thanksgiving Day, the world, the United States collectively is getting drunk with their uncles and aunts, cooking turkey, and watching football. Don't go out there and put up a stinker.
yeah, don't. If he puts, oh my god, I don't. That would be so bad. That would be so bad. Ideally, a stinker would be below 225, I'd say, and obviously getting blown out.
Yep.
So anything above that is good. And also, just as a this is like not even like advice or anything. It's just like he needs to have fun. He looks depressed on the sidelines. It looks like he wants to jump off a bridge. You have
Which
to,
is bad. You need to have, especially as the quarterback, especially as the leader of the team, you have to be the morale boost. If you look depressed on the sideline, the rest of your team is going to be depressed.
Exactly.
Just how it is.
Exactly.
So he needs a complete mental overhaul.
Mental overhaul. Have fun with the new OC. See how you do, and then at the end of the season, look at what happened. Simple as that.
Ding ding ding. Yep.
All right. Well, moving on from this, I think mediocre note, we'll move on to the greatest running back in the league.
Okay. Let's calm down there.
Um, Saquon fucking Barkley. 302 scrimmage yards on Sunday Night Football, where
Yep.
everyone was watching.
Hmm.
Dean, I cannot thank you enough for letting this man come to the Eagles. Seeing what he's doing for the Eagles is just, it's insane to me. I've never
Yep.
seen like some of the shits don't even. It looks like a video game. Doing backwards hurdle, he's juking at everyone. He literally took a linebacker and threw him. For his size, that's crazy. That's like a Derrick Henry move. It's
Saquon is having a phenomenal year. He's actually, for lack of a better word, he's kind of carrying the Eagles because
I 100% agree.
the rest of their offense is not has been I don't want to say bad, but just mediocre, which is not going to get it going, which is not going to get it done in the playoffs. But he is full on carrying the offense because teams can't stop him, at least over the last 5, 6 weeks, where he has kicked it into a whole nother gear. I do think that we all knew this about Barkley. However, his whole thing in the past was always his injury history, right? That's what always plagued him throughout his Giants tenure, not to mention obviously the bad teams that he was on. But his injury history always plagued him. I do take fault with you saying the Giants let him go. We did offer him. He decided to leave. So don't put that all on us.
Well, you wait. You waited.
We waited because he's a running back.
I don't know. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. I don't know.
No, yes, 100%. We chose to pay the wrong guy, but don't say he had the option of Eagles or Giants, and he chose the Eagles, which for his sake and for the Eagles' sake, he chose correctly. Because let's be honest here, he would have maybe he wouldn't have sucked. The Giants still would have sucked ass anyway. So I don't blame him in a way of trying to go to a good team and try to actually win football games because God, it must feel good because I don't know what it's like at least over the last few years. So good for him. 255 rushing yards. That's a new career high for him on only 26 carries. The guy averaged almost 10 yards a carry, which is just ridiculous. And on top of that, we could, if you want to give your 2 cents, huge matchup this upcoming week against probably the only running back in the league who can even somewhat be comparable to Barkley this year in the Ravens and Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. It's Saquon versus Derrick Henry. This is like a big like running back game. It's like so interesting. We haven't seen this type of game in a long time, to where two very very good running backs are going against each other, and no shade against and two running quarterbacks who are very good with Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. It's pretty much the same type of offense going against each other. A run heavy offense with their passing, their RPOs involved going against each other. That game, this game is going to be crazy. And just I even like because AJ Brown on the Eagles said in an interview that he said that Derrick Henry was the best running back, and then he said I saw Saquon do a backwards hurdle, and then his mind changed.
I literally told Nick probably a couple weeks ago, and I said, right now, I still think Derrick is probably the best running back I ever played with. And then he jumps over somebody backwards. And I'm like,
Had to rethink it.
yeah, I had to rethink it, man. And
This is how I see it. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I love Saquon Barkley, but Derrick Henry is the better running back.
They're different types of running backs. So
Let me explain
Saquon,
this. Let me explain this.
okay, I'm curious to hear what you're going to say. Yeah.
One, Derrick Henry has been in his first 2 years. Obviously, he started off slow, but in the rest of his tenure, he's been very consistent. Always been good, and even Tennessee, they never had a very good O line, but he always found a way to average, I think, 1,400 yards maybe, which is insane. Saquon, obviously, injuries bit him. He was younger, and obviously, they are two different type of running backs. But how I see it, like, is that if I need a running back to score on the goal line, at the 1 yard line, I'm taking Derrick Henry.
Well, that goes without saying, but that's why you have Jalen Hurts. That's why you have Jalen Hurts liking his ass getting touched and getting pushed into the end
Don't
zone.
talk about my quarterback like that.
But I'm honest about it. Look, they're just two different running backs. Yes, I completely agree with you. Derrick Henry has had a much more illustrious career. He's proven to be more consistent. He's proven to be healthy. He only had the one major foot injury. Other than that, throughout his entire career, for that big of a dude, he's been insanely healthy, insanely consistent. He's more of the ground and pound, I'm going to run through your face type of running back. And it
Yeah,
works because he's a large human being.
he's scary. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he's a scary human being. And then Barkley, on the other hand, is more or less like a Barry Sanders type, where he's very shifty. He's gonna peel off for at least one long run per game of 50 plus yards. That's just what he does because of his movements and his juke moves. But I will give this to Barkley, and he has incorporated it as he's gotten more aggressive into the league. His stiff arms have improved. His pure toughness against linebackers, against linemen, and going through blocks has been exceptional. So these two running backs, this matchup upcoming this week against the Eagles and the Ravens, I think that's one of the massive selling points to this game. Just seeing these two go at it and see who can come out on top.
Yeah, and it's great because like this is like it's not like it's a 1 o'clock game. This is a 4:25 game.
Yep.
Everyone's gonna be watching this game.
Yep.
It's great to see how I see it. Like as you were saying, like what you compared him to. I see it as like a Barry Sanders versus like maybe Derrick Henry is like a Bo Jackson esque type of running back.
Derrick Henry, I don't even know where to compare him because there's not many guys that go out in the league. What is he, 6'7"?
He's
Who
6'4", I believe. I think you were right. I think he was like 6'4", 6'5". He's very tall.
okay. Yeah, but like just a crazy freak of an athlete, Derrick Henry. And I don't know if we've ever had a running back like that in the NFL. Definitely not in my lifetime. Definitely not in your
Oh
lifetime,
fuck
where
no.
a guy this large who just completely pile drives linebackers. It's their job to look strong and scary. Are scared against Derrick Henry.
Yeah, it's actually like they're actually getting lifted up and tossed, which is just crazy to me.
That's crazy. That's a wild thought to me that a 6'5" linebacker is getting absolutely his salad is getting tossed in
yeah,
the line of scrimmage.
yeah. It's but you're 100% right though. They're two different running backs. It's
Yep.
hard to compare them, but this game is is gonna show like the league like right now who's playing, who's having the better year, and who's the best. Which is crazy to me. I think I saw this stat. They're both on pace to have 2,000 yards rushing,
Yeah.
which is insane.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. Have two running backs have 2,000 yards rushing.
Yeah. No, realistically in this game you have three MVP candidates in Lamar, Derrick Henry, and Saquon.
I was about to say it's. I think they're all playing in that game. It's Saquon, Lamar, and Derrick Henry. But that's not any specific order. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, over the last few weeks, Saquon has definitely thrusted himself into that category because he should. He deserves it. He's pretty much like we mentioned, he's carrying the Eagles right now on their offensive side of the ball. Nobody could stop him. So if I'm the Eagles, if I'm gonna give them any piece of advice, God damn it, run the hot hand, man. Do not stray from it. If it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I agree. I 100% agree. This game is going to be exhilarating to watch. And real quick, I want to get your prediction on who's going to win this game.
I do think the Eagles win this game. I think they are a I think they have a more complete offense as to where if even if both teams' game plans are going to be to try to stop the run, and if that's the case, then I'm going to take the Eagles just because of their weapons.
Exactly.
That is if Devonta Smith plays, which I believe he's on track to play, Derek.
Yeah, he's on track.
Okay, so you'll have AJ Brown, Devonta Goddard, and even Saquon coming into the backfield, who's we all know this as well. Receiving wise, he's a monster too.
Insane.
Yep.
Well, I think honestly, I think the Ravens are going to win this game. 'Cause-
Okay, you're just
No, no,
reverse
no,
like
no, Dean. No. This is my reasoning. My reasoning is because I just feel that the Eagles have always struggled against running quarterbacks, And think the way the Ravens run their offense, I just feel like that Nick Sirianni is going to struggle to create a game plan around it. That's how I see it.
Possible.
Because there's not a team in the like they have so many weapons, like hidden weapons, like they have Flowers, Bateman, who's been playing good, Andrews, Henry. It's hard to like build a scheme around them. I hope the Eagles win in convincing fashion, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens do in that game.
Fair enough.
Well, moving on from my team, let's go to your team. Well, a former player on your team,
All right.
Daniel Jones.
Danny Dimes, or as I like to call him, Danny Pennies.
Jesus fucking Christ. Uh, he got sent to the Vikings. He got signed by the Vikings. He got released by the Giants.
Mhm.
And me personally, I don't see a point into why he went to the Vikings because I don't know. Maybe Sam Darnold might be hurt
Nope.
and he might not be playing this week. I don't know, but I don't see why they would pick him up and waste like cap on him.
So, first and foremost, I do want to say Daniel Jones, however bad it ended or however bad your tenure was, I appreciate everything he did. He was a very professional man. It did not match his talent because his talent was not good, but he was very professional on and off the field. He always did the right thing in that regard. So I'm actually happy the Giants granted his release because he definitely deserves to go out there and maybe make a name for himself in the backup world. To your point, I think the Vikings is actually a great spot for him. Look, he's not going to go anywhere at this point in the year and become a starter. That's just not how it's going to work. There's especially to a contender, right? He wanted to go to a contender and he wanted to learn from QB coaches, maybe sit behind some people and try to find out where he can improve his game. And he's got that in the Vikings, right? They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be a playoff contender. They have very good quarterback and offensive minded coaches on that team. Just look at what they've done with Sam Darnold. And not only that, to your other point there, this doesn't cost them anything. They're signing him to the practice squad, and even if he does make the roster, he will get the league minimum because the Giants are paying his entire salary.
That I don't know.
So, no matter what team he went to, this was a completely safe option for any team to sign this man. It was pretty much just based on if Daniel Jones actually where he wanted to go. And he chose this team because it probably in his mind one a contender, so at least he gets to see some playoff football. And two, at least gets to learn some behind some offensive minds on where he can move, where he can improve upon his game, which is a lot of areas that need improvement.
Yeah, he might need a new like body to be better.
Yeah, and look, and who knows? Maybe next year. We're not sure what's going to happen with Sam Darnold. I'm pretty sure Darnold was only on a 1-year contract with the Vikings. Not only that, JJ McCarthy will be back next year. So who knows? Maybe in the offseason, maybe as it comes to training camp, Daniel Jones is vying for a spot as a backup or even a starter, depending on how the other two go. So I think it's a pretty good opportunity for him just to get better, to kind of just sit on the bench and learn. I think that's at least where the point of his career is at because he doesn't have to worry about money anymore. He doesn't have to worry about any of that. He doesn't even if he doesn't get a contract to go on to the live roster. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. There's one thing I will say though is that this is something I just realized. This, if God forbid he does end up starting a week, this will be the
Yeah.
first time he's had an offensive line, a good running back, and two very good young wide receivers. He has a lot of weapons.
There was no need to put in the plug to shit on the Giants.
Well,
No need.
there's always a need. I'm an Eagles fan. Come on now. But it's just I'm not wrong though. He hasn't had an offensive line in his career, not once.
No debate.
He has had a running back, which I will say.
He has.
But wide receivers had ceased to exist.
Yeah, I mean, over the last few years, his best wide receiver has probably been Neighbors.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sad because it's only his first year. In all previous years, we've had Isaiah Hodgins,
Slayton.
Slayton, Sterling Shepard. Oh God, Kenny Galladay. Don't even get me started on that man. Darren Waller, who decided to have a illustrious rap career instead of play football. I mean, yeah. So it's been a bad wide receiving core, to say the least. So yes, to your point, 100% on the receivers. Can't agree with you on the running back. Say you're not going to get a better running back than Saquon in the league, or at least you're not going to. And offensive line, yes, the Giants have had a bad offensive line for almost as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
So
So I hope he does well. I wish him the best of luck. I do think he will stay as a backup though. He'll always go to the practice squad, become a backup, ride the pine this year, unless Sam Darnold gets hurt, which he has been hurt a lot this year. He has gotten hurt like off of mini injuries, but he's been fine. He's stuck it through. So I wish him the best of luck. Any fine words you have to say for Daniel Jones before we move on?
any fine words that I have to say from Daniel Jones? I want to give him props for being one of the biggest fleecers in NFL history. Good for you to go out there, have one good year, and get your money.
God
That
bless
a
him.
boy.
God bless him. God fucking
Good for
bless
you.
him.
We just robbed you.
Good for you, man.
All right. Well, moving on from this, I want to talk about the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Do you think that they have a shot at the playoffs?
Tough to say, just because the conference itself, I'm talking about the AFC, obviously, as a whole, it's actually much better than like, in terms of being so close on all different types of cylinders. There's a lot more opportunity to have some teams sneak into a playoff spot. Like, for example, right now, you have the Chargers and the Broncos at 7-4 and 7-5 respectively, with an opportunity to make the playoffs. I don't think a lot of us saw that happening. I mean, you have Kansas City, Texans, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. That's 4 right there, and Buffalo, complete locks as of right now.
Yes.
Those are the locks, and then if I'm not mistaken, then there's 2 other spots open to go. So yes, they have an opportunity to do it. They're going to have to leapfrog a couple of teams, like I mentioned, the Chargers and the Broncos, and their schedule isn't. I don't want to say it's favorable, but it's kind of mid, because their 2 hardest opponents are going to be this upcoming week against the Packers in Green Bay, and then they have to go against the Texans and the 49ers a little bit later in the season. But they also have matchups, 2 against the Jets and 1 against the Browns. So with that remaining schedule, if you can sneak a win or 2 against the 3 tough ones, Packers, Texans, 49ers, absolutely. Because I don't want to say assume that the Chargers and the Broncos are going to have some sort of correction, but if you're hoping to at least leapfrog teams, it's a good 2 teams to be able to leapfrog,
Exactly.
because you can definitely do it against those 2. And it has to start this week if you could somehow pull off a win against Green Bay.
Yeah. I think if they pull off a win this week on Thanksgiving, that's a huge momentum shifter towards
Yep.
all the players, even the coaches, because they'll be on, I think, a 4-game winning streak. They'll be 6-5 because they'll be
No,
6.
they would be 6-6.
They'll be 6-6. I think that the Tua has been playing well for them to where he's not. I want to say back to himself, because I don't think no Tyreek Hill being involved. Like, the offense is completely different than what it was last year, to where he had his most passing yards in his career. But I think that they can leapfrog the Broncos, because how I see it, I think that the Dolphins are a better team than the Broncos, and obviously a better team than the Chargers. Because if you look, obviously, side to side comparison, such and such, Dolphins obviously stand out more because of Tyreek, Waddle. But the crazy thing is that the Dolphins with Tua back are winning in convincing fashion without Tyreek Hill even like presenting himself, which is obviously he has his hand injury, which it's tough to like come back from as a wide receiver, this especially during the season. So I think that the Dolphins will. I honestly think they're gonna win this week. I think they're gonna beat the Packers in the cold.
Bold.
In the
Bold.
cold.
I was gonna say Tua does not usually play well in the cold,
Yeah.
so this is a bold assumption. I think Green Bay they're in their element. Apparently there could be snow in the forecast in Green Bay, so I think this would be an extremely tough week to win for the Miami Dolphins. If they could pull it out, I 100% agree with you. I think they're on a fast track to actually leapfrog one of those 2 teams and make the playoffs, which would be exciting because they do have a prolific offense. The biggest issue here is this team is one misstep away from being completely done for the rest of the year. If Tua gets hurt in any way, shape, or form, they have no chance of winning anything.
Yeah, because they've shown it that they can't score at all, can't move the ball down the field without Tua.
They go from one of the best offenses in the league to quite literally one of the worst teams in the league without Tua starting a quarterback. So I think first and foremost, yes, you want to win, but for the love of God, keep your quarterback healthy because if he goes down, just chalk it up. Chalk up the year, move on to the next one, get healthy, regroup, go from there.
Exactly. Well, overall, I do think that they will leapfrog. I know you said that it's going to be tough because this week is very tough. But the
Yep.
way they do win this game, in my eyes, is hand the ball to Devon Chen. That kid is fast as shit. And if it's snowing, you use your running backs when you have them.
Yep.
You have Moster. You have the young kid in the backfield, Brooks, I believe his name is.
Yep.
Run the ball. You don't have to force to pass the ball. And Tua is not good in the cold. We've seen it in Buffalo, KC. He doesn't play good in the cold.
Yep.
But this would prove if you prove that you could win on Thanksgiving in the cold, potentially in the snow. It's huge. It's a game changer.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Well, that is all we have for those little itty bitty segments. So we're just gonna move on to our picks.
Let's go. Do you want to start it off or do you want me to get the ball rolling here?
I'll let you get the ball rolling.
Wow. Okay. You're letting me go first. I appreciate the honors, Derek. That's so nice of you. Um, but I will get it started. I am going to choose one Thanksgiving Day game. I honestly think that's just right, especially when you're on a Thanksgiving week. I think that's just the right thing to do, especially for our viewers and for myself, just to torture myself. However, I am going to go with the worst game, maybe in Thanksgiving history. Drew Lock / Tommy DeVito, we don't know yet, against Cooper Rush, Giants versus Cowboys. I am going to take the Cowboys -3.5. I think if Tommy DeVito plays, he's already hindered with a shoulder injury, and that's not saying much. Who even gives a shit because the Giants suck anyway. And I think the Cowboys at least showed some good heart and some good promise last week in their win. So I'm gonna take the Cowboys -3.5 to start on Thanksgiving afternoon 4:30 game.
I'm going to kind of do the same. I'm going to start off with my Thanksgiving game, and I'm going to pick the Dolphins +3.5. I'm sticking with how I think the Dolphins are going to win this week. I do think they're going to win by a touchdown. Obviously, the 3.5 will help me out, but I do think that the Dolphins do win this game in the snow.
Fair,
So I don't.
fairness. I mean, I wholeheartedly do disagree with you, but however, I commend you for picking that and actually sticking with your cojones.
Yeah,
So
I'm
so
sticking with
good
my
on.
gut.
I will go with my second pick of the week. I'm gonna keep my one Thanksgiving game there, and then I'm gonna go to the Sunday games here. I am going to take the Seattle Seahawks -2 over the Jets. This line is a little close for my liking. The Seahawks are coming off of a very good win against the Cardinals, where they pretty much shut them out, and that does not bode well for the Jets, whose offense is in complete disarray. So I think the Seahawks do handle business. They get a win against a reeling Jets team that pretty much their season is over at this point, and they're looking towards the future and next year. So I'm going to take the Seahawks winning, but not only winning with the -2.
That's fair enough. Well, I'm going to go with the team that the Seahawks beat, the Cardinals. I'm taking the Cardinals over the Vikings, with the
Wow,
3.5.
nice.
I honestly think that Kyler, Call of Duty kid, is gonna win that game. I genuinely think he's gonna beat the Vikings. Don't get me wrong, the Vikings are a good team. They had a
Yep.
tough win against the Bears, but I do think that Kyler, James Conner, and Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride are gonna pull it through that week.
Very nice. Very nice. No, I give you some props there.
Do you?
I I will say I do like the Cardinals, and you've seen me pick them quite a bit this year because I'm a big Kyler fan. I'm a big McBride fan, so I like that pick. It's going to be a tough game, especially off of last week where the Cardinals put up a stinker. I think they come out like their asses are on fire. So I do hope they win that game because it would be good to see. Do I realistically think they do? Probably not.
No.
But I give you props for taking the pick nonetheless, once again.
Yeah, I get props again. Woohoo.
I'm going to go to my third pick. I'm going to go to another prospective AFC playoff team who is trying to fight for one of those spots. I'm going to go with the Colts here. They are only favored by 2.5 against New England, who has been reeling as well this entire year. They're going through growing pains with their, brand new quarterback, not a lot of weapons over there. And the Colts have actually been playing some pretty decent ball. And Richardson has played significantly better since his benching, which I think they've opened up the offensive playbook a little bit. Not sure. I'm not sure what Vegas knows on why the line is that low, because I have a feeling the Colts win this by a touchdown or more.
Joshua down.
So I'm just gonna happily take my -2.5 with the Colts.
I think this is why I think the lines are out. I only know this because like I have him in fantasy. Is Downs is most likely not playing this week, and that's a big focal. Well, it is it's a big focal point in the offense.
One receiver's gonna make it that close against a Patriots team that's horrible.
Some bettors might say so. Some bettors might not.
Oof, this is why I'm not a bettor.
Exactly. I'm gonna go with. I think that if I didn't already use them as a lock, I would have used them. I'm taking the Commanders -5.5 against the Titans. Even though the Titans came off of a win against a good Texans team, I feel like they don't stand a chance against the Commanders. Even though the Commanders did come off a loss to the Cowboys, which no one was expecting, I do think the Commanders bounce back and absolutely decimate the Titans.
Strong word, decimate. Have you been using the toilet paper vocabulary lately?
Yes, pretty much.
Good for you. I'm going to go with my lock of the week, and then you could finish it off with your lock. I thought about it a little bit. I was in between a couple of games. I actually did consider my lock being the Eagles. However, the Ravens are a very good team, and I'm not insanely confident on it. But the one that I am pretty confident on, I'm going to go the Buffalo Bills over the 49ers for Sunday Night Football. Buffalo has just been playing astronomically well, and not to mention they're coming off of a bye, so a lot of their guys who were injured are rested now and going to be playing better. For one, Amari Cooper, they will have in full capacity for the first time probably in his tenure. So I do think Buffalo. I actually do like the Buffalo -7, but just for lock of the week purposes, I'm going to just take them the money line, and that's where I'm going to go.
Well, that was, unfortunately, my pick.
Get fucked, bitch.
So since you went first, I do have to pick another team, but I did have another team in my head.
Cool.
Which is good. My lock of the week this week is going to be the Broncos against the Browns on Monday night. I think that's an easy game that should be a lock. I think the Broncos should win that game. They have been playing very good defensively, and they shouldn't have to worry about Jameis Winston realistically. Even though Jerry Jeudy and Jameis Winston look like fucking gods together, he's playing phenomenal with him.
I don't know. I think Pittsburgh thought it was going to be a pretty easy win last week too, until the Browns somehow won.
This is how I see it though: is that the defense of the Broncos is able. I think it's one of the best defenses in the league, in my opinion.
Okay.
And I think they'll easily be able to stop the Browns. That's just how I see it. But the Bills was a gimme, pretty much, because if Brock Purdy doesn't play that game, it's a win. That's a lot.
Fair enough.
Well, moving on from our picks, I actually like our picks. It's kind of like this is the first time we went like completely different.
Yeah, but I think you're going 0-4, so.
I think I'm going to go 4-0 again. If I go 4-0 again, oh my god, Dean, you do not want to talk to me. You might go back to fucking Kirby. You might hide your face and go back to Kirby.
Don't get too cocky. You had one good week. Good week.
Dean, there's a difference. I've had one good week, and then I've been like 3-1, 2-2, 2-2. You did shit at the start, and then you started doing a little better. So you've been all right. All right, moving on from this, let's go on to your favorite segment. Dean, introduce it. That was your best one. That was your best one.
I actually do think that was my best one.
Editor,
I
please use this one for now.
that one really felt good against my vocal cords. I think I need to lubricate a little bit more in the future, but we'll work on that a little bit better. Would you like to start, or would you like me to start?
I would like you to start after that comment.
Okay. I am going to stay in the sports world. I am going to go to tennis, however. My baller of the week, who we actually just finished recording last week when it happened, but I'm going to go with a man who retired, who has been one of the best tennis players to ever live in Rafael Nadal. He played his last tennis at the Cup last week. He finished off playing for his country just where he started, all the way back when he was 19 years old. So, wanted to commemorate him for a career in which he is quite literally top 5 all-time tennis player, 22 Grand Slam titles, 14 French Open titles, which is a record, by the way, if you didn't need me to tell you that, which is just absolutely absurd. He completely owned the clay courts throughout his entire career. He was a pleasure to watch him, especially in matches against Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray. The list goes on and on. He's been one of the best of all time. It's been a pleasure to at least watch him play. Now, that's 2 out of the major 3 that are retired. Obviously, Federer retired last year, and the only one still standing is Djokovic, who could be coming to a close in the next couple of years if his body allows him to continue playing. I think he does have a few more good years left, but it's now the age of the new young kids coming up. I'm not sure if anybody who's watching our podcast knows tennis at all,
I
but
don't
you
think
got
so.
Yannick Sinner, Carlos Alcaraz, um, Alexander Zverev. So you got a lot of good players out there, but did want to give my flowers to one of the best of all time in Rafael Nadal, and I wish him all the best in his retirement.
I think it's a good pick. I was not expecting you to go the tennis route, honestly, but you do know a lot about tennis. So I
I
don't know
do.
that much, but I know who that is, who
Yep.
Nadal is. He was very, very good.
Yeah, I
So,
look. I have to keep you on the tip of your toes, Derek. I can't have my baller of the weeks be always predictable.
all right. I
Because
think
if they're always predictable, then why the hell even have the segment?
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Why even have the podcast at that point? Just so I can look at your ugly face?
Jesus, that hurt.
Good. It
I,
should hurt.
all right. I don't think you're gonna expect mine, honestly.
Okay.
So my baller of the week is Travis Hunter, the college football phenom. This kid who's about to enter a draft and is most likely going to be the number 1 pick. In my eyes, I think he's going to guarantee the number 1 pick. He's been nominated for 4 awards, should be 5. He should have been nominated for the best corner award, I believe it is. The Jim Thorpe Award. I don't know if it's the best corner or best something, but it makes no sense because he got nominated for best defensive player, but not best corner. Makes no sense. But he is an outstanding player on both sides of the ball, receiving, playing well on defense, being able to do whatever he pretty much be able to maneuver around the field like the way he does, play 110 snaps a game. It's unheard of.
Yep.
It's insane to see. He's like I wouldn't say a modern day like Dion, like the way like he did play both sides and at one point. So
Yep.
it's just good to see, and how I see it is that it's going to change like the way football is. Is that most young kids are going to want to play both sides of the ball, which I like. I think it's going to make it more competitive in the NFL. Do I think that Travis will go into the NFL as a corner? No, but I do think he will go as a wide receiver, and he will be a very, very good wide receiver, and he does deserve his flowers for how good he is.
Very nice. Going with the Buffaloes. I like it.
Yeah, I don't think you were expecting that at all.
No, I wasn't expecting that, but it. The year is young. Colorado is vying for a playoff spot, so that should be pretty cool as we head into the latter half of the college football season. So I personally, I've been trying to get into it more this year. I think this is the year where I've actually focused on college football a little bit more. I don't think Colorado's going to make the playoff,
No.
but to your point, Travis Hunter is one of, if not the major reason that they're even vying for it.
Yeah.
So, nice ball of the week, Derek. Nice ball of the week.
Thank you very much. Well, I think that was a great way to end off the podcast. This is Dean Derek back for Double D Report, and we're obviously going to be posting more TikToks where you can argue with us about Caleb. We love to see it. It's good interaction, and hopefully you guys could debate with us, and then we could turn into a nice little segment on the podcast. Dean, any last words?
No, nothing too crazy. Happy Thanksgiving to all who celebrate within the United States. I know it's not an international holiday in the slightest, but, good old pilgrims for us. That's the United States. So enjoy your turkey, enjoy your mashed potatoes, enjoy your stuffing. Hopefully you get into a political fight with your family, because it wouldn't be complete without one.
Yeah.
And enjoy. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving and peace.